Welcome to Behave Yourself, the podcast that aims to bring the science of human behavior and how you can apply it to your own life and become the happiest, healthiest, and most successful version of you.
We're two behaviour analysts with backgrounds in personal training and nutrition who've struggled in the past with confidence, weight loss, breaking promises to ourselves, and constantly trying the quick fixes.
We bring the science and show you how to apply it confidently and consistently towards your own goals and how to actually create a lifestyle change.
Behaviour analysis is the science of human behaviour, and we all engage in behaviours that either move us towards the direction of our goals or hold us back from living the life we desire.
I'm one of your hosts, Emily McCrae.
And I'm your other host, Jo Wesley.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
I was going to say I'm good. I am good though. I woke up kind of tired and unmotivated and feeling a little sluggish, but it's now 11 and we've done some awesome work before we started recording this. And I feel this is what brings me joy. So I feel like if you were to ask me that at another day and time, my answer would definitely be different. But right now I'm feeling good. I'm ready for this episode.
You definitely warm up throughout our first hour together.
I do. Yeah. How are you?
I am feeling a little bit like the rug has been pulled from underneath me. As we always say, we record in the past when you're listening to this, but we found out that all schools in London where I live were going to close tomorrow as of yesterday. So I have quickly rearranged my entire schedule and rearranged all of my therapist schedules and family schedules. So no kiddie is going to be without therapy, which has been logistically interesting, but I think I've managed it. So I am not quite sure where I am and what I'm doing tomorrow, but I think by tomorrow morning I'll have worked it out.
You sound like you had a good system going for it. So, and all your kiddos are getting the help that they need. So that's really the important part.
We worked it out that all the therapists and the consultants had to just start doing in-person sessions, doing one-to-one sessions, with kiddies that they could walk to within, like, near their home. And it was really nice because we got to meet some new kiddies that we'd never met before and new parents and play with them in lots of different ways. So yeah, there were some benefits to it.
That's good.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. New adventure.
Exactly. So yes, I get to go to see one of my favorites tomorrow. Not that I have favorites, but
yeah. We have some favorites, I think. Alrighty. So
today, it's you again.
It's me. Back for round 3. Circuit 3, whatever we want to call it for this. But we are looking at this movement series, and we've talked about kind of the intro, the basics, what you need to do to get started if you're working on muscle building. And now we're looking at weight loss or fat loss, which is also really heavily incorporated into the muscle building episode that I talked about last time. But people kind of hyper focus in on this. How do I exercise to lose weight? So this is where we're going to focus on today. And kind of talking about why you need to lift heavy, but you can keep doing your cardio. So we need to lift heavier and progressively increase the weight that you're lifting to build up strength. So if you're in a group exercise class and you're only using the 8-pound weights every single class for 5 to 20 years, you're not going to put on muscle. It's not going to happen because you're not progressively overloading those muscles and allowing them to break down and build up over time. So people are a lot stronger than they think. Women are stronger than they think. And I've seen this with several clients where I've given them heavier weights and I see the bug eyes, I see the eye rolls, I hear the questioning phrases of, I don't think I can do this. And then they do it. So you can lift heavier. And like we've said before, you can lift heavy and not get bulky. It's a very big misconception, but you need to lift heavier weights in order to build that muscle mass. So where does this all come into?
About skipping cardio, lifting heavy enough, your heart's going to be in a cardio zone anyway. So, but if you're, as Annie says, lifting 8-pound weights, it's probably not going to be.
No. And you can, there's ways to do it. So I have a couple of people who really love the cardio, the heart rate, the high heart rate going. So we do circuits or we do supersets. And if you're lifting heavy weights and you're doing multiple exercises within a short period of time, you're going to feel that cardio heart rate increase. I think some people see this vision of, I always kind of talk about my clients at the gym because there's no men in our gym. So it's a very fun example, but you kind of see the guys who are lifting the really heavy weights for like 4 reps and then they sit on their phones in the gym. And that's their rest time. To me, that's wasting time because I don't have time to spend 2 hours in the gym. You can, but you don't have to build up muscle. But to me, that's just like wasting time. But they're taking that time to rest the muscles because then they're going to do that same exact exercise again. So the muscles need that 2 minutes of rest to recover and then do the next rep. Whereas if you're doing circuit training or supersets or combinations of exercises, you can do them back to back and you don't need that seated rest or that like very specific rest because the muscles are getting rest while you're working other sets of muscles. So if you do a squat and then you do a row, you're working legs while the legs are resting, you're doing upper body. So now we get into Joe. Joe was, I think, really excited when I put these notes in, when I got into the metabolism.
But like we were talking about, you were saying, oh, you're not so interested in fat loss, you're interested in all the other things.
Mm-hmm.
Fat loss is, in theory, what I specialize in, but it's really simple and quite boring. Actually, what I want my clients to do is eat healthier, build muscle, which will then, of course, result in fat loss. But yeah, building muscle, because just losing fat is not what we want to do.
No, and I think most people come to me and they want to be toned. They want to see that muscle definition, which is essentially losing fat, but then also building up that muscle. And it really is what they're coming to and saying they want. They just don't know what that entails. And it means lifting weights, eating properly, fueling your body. So, how does food and nutrition play a role within weight training, strength training, resistance training? So, as you're increasing your muscle mass, so if you're lifting heavy, you're going to increase your metabolic rate. So your metabolic rate is this average rate that your body burns calories. So most people are going to say like, "Oh, I have a really slow metabolism. I'm just that's just me." You can actually change your metabolism. It's based on like multiple factors. Your metabolism is based on your environment, your nutrition, your exercise. Other factors are involved. Temperature, climate is involved in metabolism. So there's a lot of factors that come into play. But typically speaking, the lower metabolism stores fat. The reason, and Joe, please correct me if I ever mess anything up with any of my nutrition stuff.
No, you're
but
good.
The reason that comes into play is because when your metabolism is lower and you're eating fewer calories, this signals to the body, we need to conserve all of this energy because this person is not giving us the food that we want. So let's just store it as fat because we don't know what she's going to do and if she's going to give us more energy. So your body goes into this really protective mode. It wants to keep you safe. It wants to keep you alive, but it's doing it in the only way that it knows, which is storing fat. So,
And it typically is a bit of a vicious cycle that if you've lost fat, you're then a smaller body, and smaller bodies need less energy, therefore you need less calories. And so I think that's where the lower metabolism starvation mode kind of idea comes from, which is why if you're losing fat and becoming a smaller body, you want to become a bigger body by putting on muscle, because you will look more toned and you will look smaller, even though you will keep your metabolic rate up, but look slimmer and look more toned.
Exactly. Yeah. Beautifully said. So we really want that metabolism to increase because then we're going to be able to burn more calories. And that in turn, if you can burn more calories, and when you're in that deficit, like Joe said, we always need to be in a deficit to lose weight, then you can also be eating more, because if your basal metabolic rate is higher and you're burning calories more, you can eat less than you're burning, but you're also eating more food. So you're going to be able to burn those calories that are coming from working out. When you strength train, your muscles need energy to recover. I've said this in the last episode and I'll say it again here. It needs fuel to burn the calories, to repair, to break down. And if it doesn't have the nutrition that it needs, it's going to store it as fat and it's not going to actually repair the muscles. And so then you're kind of just wasting your time. And I don't want you to waste your time. So strength training really is a critical component, but so is the nutrition component as well. They are always going to go hand in hand. Joe's got something.
Yeah, I think there's sometimes you or some people might have heard that you need to eat in a surplus to build muscle. And there's some truth behind that, in that, as Emily's saying, you do need calories to build muscle, to repair the muscle. But I think sometimes we often forget that the each pound of body fat is the equivalent of 3,000 calories. So if you are carrying an extra, let's go extreme, an extra 100 kilograms of weight on your body, I'm flipping between metrics now. If you've got an extra 100 pounds of weight on your body, that is extra energy that you are holding. It's not food in your stomach, but it is calories that can be broken down and used for fuel. And so, yes, if you don't have a huge amount of body fat, you will need to eat in a surplus to build muscle. But if you have lots of stored energy, not necessarily, and often we have what are called, kind of in the industry, newbie gains. And typically when people very first start lifting weights, even if they're in a calorie deficit, they are able to build muscle just because they've not done it before, and it's a new stimulus on the muscle and on the body.
Yeah, there's some interesting studies and data on the first 3 months or so. You're going to see that muscle increase, and then it starts to plateau. And it's not even as much plateau as it's just the neurons and everything that's coming into those new movement patterns. It's learning this pattern of movement within your body. And so it's like, ooh, something new and exciting and shiny. And then it becomes this, it learns that this is okay, this is what we're doing. And then that's when you do need to be in a surplus to build muscle if you're at a certain body weight and composition. And so this is where it always comes into, it's going to be individual for each person. And that's really when you do need to look at your individual body composition, nutrition, movement programming, everything that goes into play.
And
It's never going to
individual,
be.
in that there are what we call hyper responders and non-responders. And most of us sit bang in the middle of general responders. There are some people who can lift a bag of sugar and put on muscle, it seems, and they are hyper responders. And then there are very, very small amounts of the population who are non-responders, and they just almost seemingly cannot put on muscle. And they think it's kind of based on race as well. There are certain races that find it harder to put on muscle. Of all the people I've ever heard say that they are non-responders, I've asked them to give me a month and they've worked out they're not non-responders. It's a very small percentage of people that are non-responders, but yeah, it's very individual. And so if you are struggling with it, probably work with a coach.
Yeah.
Like Emily.
We've got a few over here. And I think it really does play into, this is all so individualized, and we're trying to create as much information and content, but it's always going to be individual to you. So we're giving you these basic general guidelines, but really in the end, it's you can kind of come from this template of what the body does, what the body needs, but what does your individual body need? What does your individual body do in response to certain exercises? And then the other thing too is, if you're at a very beginning stage of your exercise, I don't want to say journey because that just sounds so cliche, whatever. But if you're at the beginning of starting to work out, or coming back from a very long period of time where you have been very sedentary, or you're dealing with a lot of extra weight, starting with walking, there's nothing to say that you can't just start with walking. And that's where I would start somebody anyways, is if you haven't lifted weights in a long time, if you haven't done an exercise program, start with getting your steps in, start with getting some movement, getting that cardiorespiratory aerobic endurance up. And then it's starting with stability and mobility. And then maybe we start adding in weights. So it's not to say that you need to start with weight training. So if you go to your local gym and you go to the trainer there and it's like, okay, well, I need a or like a weight training program because Emily said so. Please don't do that. First of all. Second of all, it's really based on you. So I have a client right now that she's just focusing on getting her walks in and doing some time on the stationary bike at home. And that's all we're working on. Do I want her in the future working on weight training? Of course, we're going to build that in. But right now, it's focusing on just hitting the small habits of going for walks and building that up because we want it to be enjoyable and not aversive. Like we always say, pair it, make it fun, make it
But also
enjoyable.
put it this way, like if you think when I was at my heaviest, if I put a backpack on, £100 backpack on now, I would be out of breath going for my usual daily walk, but that's the weight that I used to carry. And so even if you're going for a slow walk, you're carrying all those extra pounds. That is a kind of weight training. And as Emily says, it's not just about, it's about learning to do those small habits, but also it's got so many more benefits than just putting on muscle. It's improves your cardiovascular health, improves your mental health, all sorts of different things.
And then when you get into it, like we said, like it's not just strength training, it's the cardiovascular, it's the nutrition component, it's the mental component, it's the mindset work, the daily habits. Are you drinking enough water? Are you getting enough sleep? Sleep plays a huge component into weight loss. There's a lot of different variables within it. So yeah, this whole episode is supposed to be focused on exercise for weight loss, but really like you can't just go on the elliptical for 2 hours a day every single day and lose weight. Like it's not going to happen. It's may over a very, very, very long time. I can't say never, but really when you're looking at it, you need to look at all of the components and all of the little things. And if that sounds overwhelming, start with just getting some walks in. Just start small, get your body moving, even if it's going up and down your stairs for 5 minutes in the middle of a work meeting and something else. I have a
This
lot
is
of clients who are
do you know,
very sedentary right now. So that's why.
yeah. But 2 hours on the elliptical is
Oh,
not very effective. Like it's not a good
right.
use of your time. You can get a great workout in 15 minutes. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you work hard and do it properly, or
Yep.
even 15, 20 minutes, like 2 hours on the elliptical sounds A, boring, B,
Mm-hmm.
repetitive. You're not going to build up that trust in yourself that you can do new things or do hard things. Yeah, sounds like my idea of hell. No thanks.
And I think this brings us into, there are the people who spend 2 to 3 hours in the gym and they enjoy it. I've said this before. There's a woman who's in there. She's on the elliptical. She's doing some stuff. That's her escape. That is her peaceful time. It makes me crazy to think about being on the elliptical. She's reading a book. She's happy as a clam. Like I'm not going to, bust her little bubble of happiness. If that's her goal coming to the gym, is to have that peace and escape and that time to herself. If your goal in the gym is to lose weight, maybe not like the best use of your time. And for all the people who are saying, well, I don't have time, cool. Don't spend all your time on the elliptical. Like do a 20-minute circuit training, hit all of the muscle groups, do it 3 times a week, call it a day. Like that's where you start. And then you start building up and it becomes this lifestyle. And it's not, oh, I have to go to the gym and do this workout that's going to take me so long and I don't have time. And then it's creating stress. Like we don't need to cause more stress. We don't need to take up more time in our day than we already feel like we don't have. So do a quick, effective workout, and it's going to be something that gets you just moving your body.
You've set
So
this up so nicely, but I am going to really throw you under the bus right now.
go for it.
We said we were going to start this week. So, a short, effective 20-minute circuit
Mm,
workout. Emily's going to post one in the Facebook group.
I am. I was actually thinking about that too. When you said throw me under the bus, I was like, what did I say wrong? No, I was actually in my head thinking, I was like, wow, we really coordinated this well without coordinating it. We plan a lot of things, guys, but like there's things we
Oh,
don't.
do we?
We don't plan out. But yeah, so in our Facebook group, we are going to be incorporating more movement, more nutrition tips and goals. So there will be a nice 15 to 20-minute workout posted in there with yours truly. So it will be something you can do quick and easy. And I don't want to hear the excuse, I don't have time, because you do. You watched that Netflix episode or you scrolled on Instagram for 15 minutes. I know you did. So not you, Joe, just people out there.
No, and I'll be doing it. Like, I'm really excited. I'll be doing it as well, and putting a video of me doing it on my Instagram. If you do it, take a video of yourself. And if, like me, you're a little bit shy about your form because you know it's probably terrible, feel free to speed up the video. And so it's only a 15-second clip, and tag us in it so that we can see that you've done it. And if you want to join the Facebook group, there's lots of people in there providing support and chatter. I'm going to put a recipe in there this week. Emily's going to do some movement education in there. I'm going to do something. It's a really fun place to be.
It is. It is. That segued so nicely. Love how we do that. I know. It wasn't. It all just lined up beautifully. We do have plans, guys. That wasn't in it, but it all does. You just need to incorporate all of the different variables, but slowly. And I don't want you to leave this and be like, okay, now I have to go start a whole new program with all of these components. No, just go for a walk. Literally, just go for a walk, get up out of that chair, get away from the Zoom screen, go listen to our podcast episodes. It's a great way to spend some time.
Go and join the Facebook group, because
join the Facebook group
this week, although we are talking in the past, so goodness knows what we're doing now, but you can look back at previous posts. We're looking at identifying your goals. Then we'll be doing how to take your data and how to do these behaviors. So there'll be lots of good, lots of good information in there. And you mentioned about 5 minutes ago how there were lots of different things that are really important for your health and fitness and weight. And one of them was sleep. Guess what we talk about next episode? So next time, I'm going more into sleep and how ABA can help us with sleep issues.
I'm excited for it. I sleep like a baby, but I know other people struggle. So,
and I've started asking now we've got 100 or so members in the Facebook group. I started asking people questions about the different podcasts that we're going to do. And so I had some really helpful questions. Thank you, everybody, about this sleep episode. And we're going to keep posting each week questions for each podcast. So if you ever want to ask us a specific question about a specific topic, hop on in there and ask us.
Yeah, we're there. We're there to help answer questions, anything you guys need, support, all of that. So it's a really good place to be.
Perfect.
So it's Behave Yourself Podcast on Facebook if you're searching it.
Yes, or you can email us directly at behaveyourselfpod@gmail.com.
Yes.
You can find Emily on Instagram at emily.a.mccrae. You can find me on Instagram at The Behavior Lady, or you can find our podcast Instagram at Behave Yourself Pod.
Perfect.
As always, we're both behavior analysts and qualified in our respective fields, but this podcast is for education and for information sharing only and shouldn't be taken as personal, medical, or behavioral advice or services.
Awesome. So we'll see you guys next time. Get some good sleep. Get ready for it.
See you next time.
Talk to you soon.